Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
8:07 here. It's our fourth hour of our 4-hour broadcast morning, and we're excited to bring it on home as we hand it off to Chris Plant in just 60 minutes. A lot going on in the world. We'll get you up to date on everything, including some really sad stories from around the world in Sydney, Australia, at Brown University, of course, and the news we woke up to, Rob Reiner murdered at his home in Brentwood, California, by his son. Absolute tragedy. We'll get to all those details as the morning develops. Also in 30 minutes, Chuck Thies will join us. He's a D.C. political analyst. We'll find out his take on this brewing scandal with the former police chief accused now of covering up and misidentifying crimes. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have one of our favorites here, Phil Wegmann, White House correspondent with Real Clear Politics. Give us a update on where things are with this president as he heads into the new year and, almost rounding out his first year. This last year has been quite a decade, hasn't it, Phil?
That's an understatement.
Are you keeping your wits about you, keeping up with the president and his team?
Doing my best, but certainly Donald Trump, we learned early on this year that second time around, he wasn't just returning to the White House so he could play golf. Instead, he had all of the people who generally agree with his political vision on board with him. And this is an administration that, whether you love them or hate them, has been rowing in the same direction, and they've gotten a lot done this year.
Yeah, and it's a far cry from the first term where there have been no vacancies. I mean, no one has stepped away, and he has not fired anybody. So it does seem like he's got the team that he's wanted in place. Are there any rumors? There was some rumors last week that, I mean, God, they put Hegseth on the chopping block since before confirmation, and he's still thriving. There was some rumor that Kristi Noem is in trouble in some way, but the president seemed to shoot that down. What are you hearing?
So there has been some consternation internally about DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. There's been some grumbling about the FBI Director, Kash Patel, as you just mentioned. And, of course, Pete Hegseth. I mean, that guy can't catch a break to save his life. And yet, Donald Trump doesn't want to do the thing that Donald Trump is most famous for. He doesn't want to tell anyone, you're fired. And I think that's because, unlike the first administration, they're not as sensitive as they were to media criticism. And this time around, just to be totally frank with you, the concerns and the arguments have more to do with substance than with drama. I mean, there's no Scaramucci, there's no Omarosa this time around. Instead, Donald Trump has his own people.
Julie, I don't know about you, but I just got PTSD hearing Scaramucci and Omarosa's names.
Yeah, so did I. There's also calls, I feel like, another guy who can't catch a break is RFK. But I saw that actually Pence is calling for him to resign or for Trump to fire him over this abortion drug. What do you know about changes to the abortion drug or RFK's statements on the abortion drug?
Yeah, this is really an interesting story. One thing that Donald Trump has done really well is pull together all the different strands in the conservative coalition and held them together while adding new factions like the Maha Moms, so on and so forth. But with RFK Jr. at Health and Human Services, there's been a bit of controversy, and the pro-life community is increasingly frustrated with an administration that feels that they've put the abortion issue on the back burner. They're upset in particular over this long-promised review of mifepristone, the abortion drug, which is incredibly prevalent after the overturn of Roe v. Wade. The number of abortions has actually increased because that drug is accessible through the mail because of Biden-era policies. And so RFK Jr. and the FDA commissioner, McCary, have promised that this review is going to get done, a safety review. In the meantime, though, there has been a generic version of mifepristone which has been approved. And so a lot of these pro-life groups came out and called for McCary to be fired after news from Bloomberg broke last week that McCary had said that the review was going to be paused until after the midterms. The allegation was that they didn't want another political football. The story that we broke this morning is that you have the former Vice President, Mike Pence, now calling on his old boss, not just to fire McCary, but to fire RFK Jr., formerly a pro-abortion Democrat.
Fascinating. We'll see where that goes, certainly. And it was probably one of the biggest concerns that many of us had about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in that position, is that he has been adamantly and radically pro-abortion his entire political career because, well, let's face it, he's a Democrat. Phil Wegmann is our guest, White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics. What did you make of the president's announcement last week, or indication that he is moving to cut certain restrictions on marijuana right now and the way the drug is classified? Some people are seeing this as some sort of move toward further normalization, if not legalization, of the drug. But others are saying, well, this is really just about finances. There's so many states now that have legalized it, and yet because it is still classified nationally as a certain kind of drug, that means banks are not allowed to participate in the purchase of these drugs, which means all of the dispensaries are cash only, and this would now open up credit cards to be able to be used. What is the indication here from your perspective, Phil, of why they're going in this direction?
Yeah, it seems that the momentum is moving for reclassification of marijuana for a lot of the reasons that you just mentioned. There are a number of businesses in states that have legalized that are forced to only be cash only. And the hope from some of these lobbyists on behalf of the weed industry is that there would be a more friendly national framework. We'll see if Donald Trump ends up going along with that. But it's really curious, right? Because Donald Trump, both personally and politically, has been an anti-drug guy. And so we're looking at his schedule. Reporters are his public schedule to see, like, is there going to be an executive order announced today? No indication just yet. But think of this. You have an administration that seems to be on the cusp of making weed more accessible at the same time as you have an administration that is really at war with the drug cartels in Venezuela. It seems to be a little bit of mixed messaging.
I think that's one way to put it. And finally, we noted that you were very excited about Grandpa Phil Rivers taking to the field. Heavy. Yesterday, I know it was a tough loss for the Colts. Are you a Rivers fan or a Colts fan? What's your passion here?
Oh, I'm a Colts fan, and I gotta say, Grandpa Rivers at 44 years old did just enough. I mean, we had taken the lead after that 60-yard field goal. This is Philip Rivers, a good Catholic father of 9 and a grandfather of 1. Comes off the couch after having not played in 5 years. And guys, he I'm not going to say he's the second coming of Peyton Manning, but he looks good. He looks good enough. We were very close to winning, and I have nothing but admiration for Uncle Phil for what he did for us the other day.
Well, it was quite a thing to see. I have to say, but he looked physically. He didn't quite cut the same image as you expect from a pro.
A little chubbier.
Yeah. It's a bit of a throwback. Well, that's what quarterbacks looked like back in the day, but that was, the 60s and 70s, not necessarily this time around, but he does seem like a great man. Thank you, Phil Wegmann. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Phil.
Take care.
It's 8:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Speaking of football, first, your Washington Commanders looked fantastic yesterday, but it's because they were playing the New York Giants. Normally not that great a team this year, plagued with injuries. They did eke out a win against the Giants. They will still be in position to have probably a number 5 or number 6 draft pick at the end of the season, though, on a bit of a disappointment after last season. But the Commanders are not the only team to feel a disappointment. For the first time in a decade, Julie Gunlock, the Kansas City Chiefs will not be in the playoffs. And it ended in a miserable fashion for the Chiefs as they were mounting a comeback, trying to take the lead against the Chargers. And Patrick Mahomes got hit with Patrick Mahomes, we've become so used to him just scrambling out, making magic happen. And he was scrambling out of the pocket. He was pursued. He was trying to make magic happen. And he got tackled in what looked like a very, very painful knee injury. He got carted off. He's done for the season. And now one wonders if he will ever pass the ball to one Travis Taylor Swift Kelce again, because a lot of people thought this would be Travis Kelce's final season. His brother, of course, famously quit the game a couple of years ago, and now he's engaged to get married, and he's got to be a full-time husband. Somebody's got to do the dishes and cook the food.
Has Travis announced anything about retiring?
Not officially. There have been rumors.
He's not.
Have been rumors.
He's very busy, I think.
I'm sorry, did you just call him Travis? Are you on a first-name basis with Mr. Kelce? Is that what's going on here?
Well, look, he's busy wedding planning. Okay. I mean, you remember wedding planning. It's tough. And, I didn't really ask my husband's opinion on much. He didn't have a lot to do. But
usually, yeah, exactly.
But
usually
I imagine...
I doubt he's going to have much input in the wedding plans there with Tay-Tay.
Maybe not. Well, he's distracted.
Or maybe this disappointing football season will be a harbinger for, trouble in the relationship.
Why are you looking for trouble? Why?
Because I blame her.
Don't be the national
for the
Enquirer.
Chiefs season. And also I drafted Travis Kelce on my fantasy team, and he's been a complete disaster this year. So I want him to have a miserable marriage.
You're
That's what he
terrible.
gets. That's what he gets. All right, how about some positive football news here?
Oh, we're not going to talk about Michigan? Okay.
No. Saturday was the Army.
Darren put me up to that. All right, moving on.
Saturday was the Army-Navy game. And it was everything you want from an Army-Navy game. They're calling it America's game, of course, because it is, as is often said, it's the only football game you'll see where the people playing the game are willing to die for all the people watching the game.
That's right.
And what a scene it was in Baltimore. First, I want you to hear a little bit of the national anthem performed by the Army-Navy Glee Club. That never gets old. Those harmonies.
Are those tears?
Yes,
Are
they
those
are.
tears?
Thank you very much. And that was I had a cold, wet face there during the national anthem too. For those who don't know, my daughter, who went to the Naval Academy, was the president of the Women's Glee Club, and she sang in all 4 Army-Navy games in the same way. And there's something about getting Army-Navy together to sing that is just overwhelming. The president was there, and listen to the reception for him as he conducted the coin toss. The referee introduced him. Take a listen.
This is your umpire, Anthony Gibson. My name is Tim Rich. It's our crew's honor to be working this game today with you all. Joining me for the coin toss, it is my honor and privilege to introduce the Commander-in-Chief, our President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
You know, I got to tell you, there were a few idiot dirtbag protesters out in front of the stadium, but only literally a handful. It was like 12 maybe, with signs calling him a fascist and all that garbage. It's such a reminder that we have two countries, the two Americas. When you go to this football stadium, 70, 80,000 people, all in some way connected to the military or to their kids who are at the academies. And he was welcomed with, not just respect and polite applause, but with robust, energetic, exciting applause. They love this guy. And it just reminds you that life is not your Facebook page.
Yes. And it's important to realize that not everybody is, a psychopath. I mean, you can set aside your political thoughts for a second and have and, be loyal opposition,
Yes.
cheer on the president at an event like this, all American, just everyone can calm down and celebrate the moment.
And Trump is very good at the pageantry stuff. He's very
Yes.
good at meeting the moment, and he did very well here. Although some were questioning his coin toss ability, because the coin went up in the air and it had no rotation whatsoever. It was literally a toss. It was not a flip. I think it just went up and came down without ever once revolving
I love
in
that
the
you've
air.
analyzed this.
Well, he got criticism by a lot of people.
Oh,
by the
dear.
way, believe it or not. Finally, just really fast, because a lot of people talk about the quarterback Blake Harvath, and they should get an amazing game. Eli Heidenreich scored the winning touchdown for Navy with a comeback victory by 1 point, 17-16. But the pivotal play was an interception by a young man who will be coming back next year. His name is Philip Hamilton. I just wanted you to listen real fast to the post-game interview.
Yeah, I just want to, come out and say, first and foremost, thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Moments like that don't happen to me, without believing in God. So, one, just credit to him, allowing me to play football, getting me where I am, allowing me to, excel, be with the guys, celebrate, with the team. It's insane.
From Fort Worth,
now
Texas.
I'm crying.
That's a 20-year-old man who will be a Marine Corps lieutenant or a Navy ensign, and he loves playing football. And I say it all the time. If you can get up to Annapolis, it's very close. Spend some time, get to know these men and women. You will. It's impossible to feel anything but hope and positive energy for our future. It's 8:24.
Coming up, we're going to talk to our friend Chuck Thies. He's going to discuss this new police report, DC police report, on the police chief cooking her crime reports. Not a good look. Keep it here. It's 8:30.
WMAL-FM Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
8:37 now on this busy Monday morning, sadly, with so much in the news that we're trying to get a handle on, and we're going to continue to monitor the events out of Brentwood, California, with the news of the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, seemingly at the hands of his son, Nick, plus the terror attacks in Sydney and the ongoing manhunt for the gunman in Rhode Island at Brown University. There's a lot to get on top of. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
And joining us right now is Chuck Thies, D.C. political analyst. And Chuck, boy, last time we had you on, we were sort of speculating on what might be behind the sudden resignation of Pamela Smith, the police chief. But now we're hearing word of this DOJ report about basically cooking the books on crime statistics, and it's hard not to connect those dots, Chuck.
It's very hard not to connect those dots, and it's equally hard in retrospect, in hindsight, to look at the crime stats and believe these extraordinary numbers that district government officials, including the chief and the mayor, were promulgating last year.
Yeah.
And the timing of all this, like you said, you have the mayor announcing just before Thanksgiving, very quietly, that she will not seek a fourth term. Then you have the tragic shooting of the National Guard in the city, and the chief of police is not there. Yeah. She's out of town, and she doesn't return to town to follow up on that. And then days later, the chief announces that she's stepping down effective December 31st. It's weird.
It is weird, and it's impossible not to connect those dots and see that there's something going on here and that the report is going to get even worse. They were claiming that there was a 24% drop in violent crime in Washington, D.C. Nobody believed that, and I mean nobody believed it. But now, based on what you're seeing, Chuck, what do we think the real numbers are, and how exactly did they misclassify or deliberately not classify the violent crime so that it wouldn't get picked up in these reports?
So let's start with the numbers real quickly, because I went back and I reviewed them. Actually, this time last year, the chief and the mayor and the deputy mayor for public safety held a press conference in which they announced that the violent crime rate in D.C. was down 35%.
35. Wow.
Now, here's the interesting thing. At the same time, and I don't want to get down into the weeds, but there's an internal mechanism where police departments report their crime stats to the FBI. It's a very, very, very accurate system. It holds up to audits. At the same time, the D.C. Police Department reported to the FBI, in effect, that crime was up. Violent crime was up 1.7%. Which is more believable. Why? When they were claiming that crime was down 35% in the district, nationally, violent crime was down 4.5%. So it's just impossible to believe. And here, this is very unfortunate, but sex crimes are fairly static in terms of they don't ebb and flow with other types of crimes. The district has reported that sex crimes are down 25% last year, and the year before, 33%, in effect, having halved over the course of 2 years. And that's just not how that crime stat works. It's not how it operates. So these things, once you look at them, these things lead anyone to second guess them. Now, how did the chief manipulate crimes or allegedly? Okay, this hasn't been proven yet. What they're saying, not just in the DOJ report, but in a House report, House Oversight Committee report, is that it was through a culture of fear, intimidation, and coercion, which is, that's not uncommon. It's a strict hierarchy. The police department, it's a militaristic hierarchy, and as anyone will tell you, as a matter of fact, I strongly recommend you have Greg Pemberton on the show. He's the president of the D.C. Police Union. As anyone will tell you, cops are disciplined for doing things that run afoul of what command wants. And it doesn't have to mean they did something wrong. It just means they did something that ticked off leadership.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, I hate to say this, but so many of these things come out. They're shocking. This is extremely dangerous, what's going on here in the district. But will anything come of this? I mean, has the U.S. Attorney said anything? I mean, the Department of Justice, are they going to launch any kind of, is this something that someone's going to be brought up on criminal charges? Because someone certainly should be.
It's certainly a crime to manipulate data and pass it on to the FBI. There's no doubt about that. Whether it's proven that a crime happened and whether it can be proven who committed the crime, we'll see. Now, the original report that came out on Friday was leaked from the Department of Justice. So they're looking into this. And, of course, the House committee released their report yesterday, an exclusive, I believe, to the Washington Post. They released their report yesterday sort of to piggyback on what's going to happen today. I believe the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office will formally announce their report. Both of these reports, self-admittedly, are incomplete. They're drafts. In other words, we're not at the end of this process. We're only part of the way through this process. So it remains to be seen if anyone will be held account. But I tell you who isn't holding the chief to account, and that's the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. Instead of wondering whether or not these stats were corrupted, what the mayor is doing is saying nice things about the chief. She's had a great tenure. I respect her. Well, let me tell you something. We've seen this playbook before. When the mayor's longtime chief of staff was caught in the middle of a sexual harassment or worse scandal, all the mayor did was say nice things about him. Why? I speculate because he knew where the bodies were buried. Yeah. So this is part of the Bowser administration playbook. When someone's in the middle of a scandal, the mayor says nice things about them. Why? Probably so they don't say not nice things about the mayor.
It's hard not to leap to the conclusion that there may be some kind of cover-up afoot here. We'll wait and let the news come out and events come out. Sadly, we can't always rely on the Washington Post to cover these things. Washington Post seems like they're part of it. They don't want to see any scandals in D.C., which is really weird for a journalistic endeavor.
Remarkably, or maybe not, in the first story about this report, they never mentioned the fact that there are statistics in this report that controvert what the police department was saying. They
Right.
just simply say there's anecdotal evidence, this committee or the DOJ alleges. They never actually lay down the numbers. And it's important for people to understand national numbers, crimes down 4.5%. D.C. numbers, crimes down 35%. National numbers, sex crimes are static. D.C. numbers, sex crimes are down 33%. Once you hear that, you understand that these numbers are absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got to leave it there. Always good to talk to you, Chuck. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chuck.
And stay warm out there.
Yeah, we're trying. 8:45.
Later this morning on the Chris Plant Show, the Biden people let 18,000 terrorists into our country. Merry Christmas, everyone. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
All right. So we had so much sad news today, especially the news out of Hollywood with the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife and the horrific details involving his son, the terror attack in Sydney, the shooting in Brown University. Could we have some good news, please? And we've got some. It's a birthday, an incredible birthday. 100 years old this weekend on Saturday. Dick Van Dyke. Iconic Hollywood actor.
I love him.
Truly. And this is a weird stat. Are you ready for this one?
Yes, this is weird.
Dick Van Dyke was born closer to the death of Thomas Jefferson, 1826, than to today, 2025. How weird is that?
It is so weird. And as someone aptly explained on Twitter or on X, America is a really young country when you think about it.
Yeah.
When you think about it, oh, that's bizarre.
He was born 99 years after the death of Thomas Jefferson, one of our founders, and now he has outlived that span by 1 year.
That's weird.
What a great guy. And by the way, I saw him. He appeared in an event, a 60th anniversary for Disneyland. He was 92 years old, I think, and he was dancing.
Oh, the guy is
at 92
so active.
years old. No,
yeah, I have a good friend who she grew up watching the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
And became so enamored with him. And as I think she might have been 13 or something, she wrote a fan letter to him, and he wrote back. And they treasure that letter that they got from him. Yeah.
Yep. Happy birthday, Dick Van Dyke. Don't you go anywhere. We need you around. It is 8:52.